Hey, friendos, welcome back. It is I, DrBossKey, and today I think we've done it. We've just released the build 2.0.1, and I was gonna go over the build notes in brief. We'll get a little bit of gameplay here, and yeah, I thought I would just, you know, for the people that don't want to read and want to get a little more flavor, then here we are. Let me turn this down a little bit in my own headset. Okay, cool. So first off, sincerely, thank you everybody that's been giving feedback, that's been playtesting, especially the video feedback. It's been really helpful to watch people play the game and to continue just to tune and balance the experience, because we're trying to hit that range between people that really haven't played a lot of shmups and people that are expert in shmups. So there's a dynamic difficulty system in play, and part of that is you know, adjusting those systems by hand. There's nothing really algorithmic in this case, just my rule sets and whatnot, to then try to make it an experience that isn't as crazy face punching as it is for me, but I'm also at the end of the high kind of level play, and I'm not the best shmup player on the planet, but you know, I've played quite a bit in, with Interstellar Sentinel, of course. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. So level and gameplay tweaks. Yeah, so we added new ship intros for all the levels. I thought it was really cool. Let me show that to you real quick. Take that, DrBoss. You ready? Here it comes. Sometimes it's the smallest stuff that gives you the biggest joy. In my case, I mean, it just took a few hours for me to really implement the whole thing. I'm still going to work on the audio design a little bit, but you know, like we're polishing when we're getting to those points. I took a little break from all the harder stuff and really bit the bullet. You know, this helps support as we changed from the player-based ship to the character-based player character. You know, having them still have essentially presence in the world, and sometime, or hopefully early next year, when we have the functionality on the engine side, we'll be able to bring back the player, the Veil Piercer starship, and be able to have craft selection between the two. That would be pretty sweet. That also opens this door for us to have some character guests in the world, so we could do more stuff there, which I think would be super fun too, having nice crossovers with some of my other buddies from their games. So okay, yeah, that's huge, right? Let's see here, level 3, which is the level we're looking at right now. So I made some adjustments to the monster trophy timing for a late grab. Not too much, because if you decide to grab late, it certainly, you know, you can min-max your score. But that also enhances the risk, because things spawn a little bit later, especially with those advanced head tosses. So level 4, let's see here. Boop. Yeah. So on level 4 here, yeah, now that once you defeat the boss, the Gondas Nada boss, the camera will stop. There was a bit of a exploit and a helper where, jeez. Apparently I'm choking over here. Pardon me. Yeah, so there's a case where when you defeat the boss, that more Lokis continue to spawn more health, and so it really gave you an opportunity to kind of milk that section of the level to get higher scores than was necessarily wanted. Because if you get a time bonus, then the time bonus gives you a lot more bonus reason to kill the bosses early, as opposed to trying to milk the whole thing. So anyways, we got a tweak in there. We adjusted the lesser demon spawns to be a little less crusty. So I think those guys are coming up actually here. Actually, I ripped that. We adjusted this weapon as well. So yeah, so I adjusted those spawns as well. We fixed some visual ordering with the weak spot layering against player weapon layers. Yeah, so here's a case where this is all now fixed in the current build, because you're not able to slay the boss that quick. That weapon was a little out of control. Let's see. Level 8. Yeah, so we adjusted some of the flesh walls that spawn. Of course, that was a big thing too. Made the rule looks crazy in a couple sequences. I got a cat hair on my face, on my eyebrow. Man, I'm a hot mess today. Loki, our kid, is going crazy. With she was just sitting on my lap, so cat hair everywhere now. And so yeah, so we adjusted the demonic flesh wall spawns, which I think will help quite a bit. And also with some of the piercing attacks and a few other things that should be easier to deal with. On the super weapon, so we had a couple cases where super weapons were getting out of control with bullet canceling and scores. And we found a bug in the scoring system, especially when you collected a lot of monster trophies and you had a really high multiplier going. Yeah, you could end up with 80,000 lives or more, depending on how things went. So it's nice to fix that. Let's see. Okay, so weapon and ability adjustments. Yeah, so probably something super helpful to look at. Let's try. Let's go back so you can see this. Is this right? Previous. Come on, you can do it. Come on. There we go. All right, so couple things here. One is we took the player weapon portal and we brought that down to align now with your player weak spot. This is also fixed here too. That way when you're shooting your top weapon, this really gives you that classic alignment to where you're vulnerable from. So you don't actually have to look at your weak spot as much. You can shoot your weapon, and then because you have a string of bullets, most of the weapon sets, those really help give you focus. So and the higher skilled players tend to not look at their craft or their player character as much unless it's absolutely necessary. So because you're always going from kind of macro vision to micro vision, depending on what's going on with the enemy spawns, the amount of bullets, the bullet density. And so, yeah, that really helped, I think, really shore that up. We took the bottom weapon portal and it was back here and we brought that forward. So now with the gun, it kind of aligns also. It's a little bit behind the main top weapon, but it really shores up all of the visual information. We found that where people were, when it was back here, they were starting to watch this and watching the glows from the weapon cannon there. So that's going to help quite a bit, and also kind of shores up like it shores up your choices between the top and bottom weapons in terms of how far ahead you have to look to aim your shots, because that also is a skill, because the lower weapons, the bottom weapons, often have they have a charge up and then a release, and so they're it takes a little more skill to use them. And then we adjusted the back weapon portal here. What you can see here is just this one's actually summoning all these crazy missiles, but we wound up taking this and then right here, this guy here. So we pulled it back and up a little higher. This gives it more utility for all of the missiles and auto fire weapons, which I'm really enjoying. So, and I think that's given new cases for how to use the weapons in different scenarios. So this really, I think, really helps the core game loop quite a bit with all of these weapon choices. So, and then I think we already talked about a tiny bit, but you can see it here. We dramatically improved the player weak spot. So, and now the player weak spot should be on top of all of the different player weapons. So you have better sorting. And now we've got these like flickery cross glows as well. And that's all should hopefully help improve conveyance. So, and those are really, really important for this iteration, because we're struggling with last builds, and frankly we've been struggling as we've been relearning to play with the new player craft and a bunch of other things too. So, all right, so that was the bottom gun portal, auto gun portal. So some weapon adjustments. The triple scythe laser, we basically went back to the portal version of it. So it's so basically it wasn't sticking out as far, because when it was sticking out as far because of the gun, you could shove all three beams very easily into everything, and that just shredded like crazy. So we've extended the bottom, or the front beam, the top beams and bottom beams are basically the same as they were before. And I think it plays much nicer. It also doesn't obscure as much of your character as the previous version did, so that'll help out quite a bit. Let's see. Yeah. So the Infinity Laser, we buffed the damage on that. So the cool thing about this is that it's a persistent laser and it has piercing. So it's a lot of fun to use. One of my favorite weapons. It gives me flashbacks to Gradius and the laser usage there as well. So hopefully, I think it needed a little buff there. So we did that. Top and bottom spinning cannon vertical spread shot. Yeah. So this is the top and bottom spread. Yeah, something like this. That was what we were showing a little bit earlier. It was going insane. I think it's a lot of fun to use now, but it was a little too insane for slaying enemies. Oh, here's the infinity laser right here, by the way. So as I was talking about. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, so we tuned down a vertical spread, adjusted the, we also brought in, we finally acquiesced. This used to be the weapon set that only had the top and bottom laser, and then the bottom, in the back laser. And we found that people, it was just such a change from, here it is right there, from all the other weapons that it's too much of a record skip in people's minds. And while I am used to seeing it and my brain switches to that, of course, I mean, I've spent, you know, a couple thousand hours making the game. It just wasn't really that fun, and people felt like they really wanted to downgrade when it got to the weapon set. So now we've got the quad beam, the quad plasma there, and we already had the buffs from the previous version for the heaven shot, basically the shotgun as the top weapon set here that you're seeing. So I'm hoping people enjoy that a lot more. I think they will. So, and you know, when you're using it, like it's, especially in certain cases, it gives you even more efficiency. So I'm starting to go back through and strategically place a few of those weapon power up plates for those sequences. So makes you feel really good when you've got a good quad beam going and you're inside like an undead dragon on all sides. Ooh, mwah. All right, let's see here. Weapon 7, set 11. So this is the octoplasma laser. That's the 8 beams that are all like, they seek out things near you. Super, super cool. And taking some notes from the playthrough. Here it is. This is the weapon that we were looking for. Yeah. So what we've done to this thing is, it was really lacking on the missile fan, which was the bottom weapon set here. And it just turned out that when you were using it, you just couldn't get a high enough rate of fire. Let's see if I switch that here. I think I do. Here you go. Right there. Boom. This. And this is already the upgraded version. So now you still have the warm up, but then once it starts shooting, you have a reduced cooldown between each of the salvos. So it goes, and then it goes, maybe it's more like, but anyways. And now it makes it easier to do things like destroy clusters of enemies that are high health. So that's super helpful there, I think. We fixed a bug with the top weapon alignment on the weapon set itself. And then, yeah, so we just talked about that. What else do we got here? All right, so we talked about the player weak spot and visuals. We also updated the title screen. Title screen is now much sexier. So it's got this cool, chill vertical scroller. I think it's just, you know, it's more visually pleasing. It features now DrBossKey and Gondas, as we've been in data going through and updating kind of our box shots and things like that. So we scrapped a couple of the other prototype things we had that we were going to do because being able to make sure that the front end is still visible, most important, right? So just a nice little like, you know, hello and welcome to the, you know, to the world. So that's the first thing that players see. So super excited to get that out. We talked about that. Let's see, updated super weapon. No, is that online? That should be outline. What was this? Updated super center around. Oh yeah. Weapon visual effect. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so what basically this was that we aligned. So a lot of people don't notice. We try our best to kind of show these things, but it's tough, right? So you can see here. God, cat hair everywhere, kitty. Jesus. That's my cat Loki. God. It's starting to turn into, well, we're going to the fall, so her coat's growing in. Anyways, so, and here it's just still actually broken. So it's fixed in the build, but this is why I always play through all my builds. But basically you have this indicator, and you can see as I step through, and this is this outline here. So the super meter is full, super weapon is ready, and then because this is where you're looking, we have this indicator that is kind of glowy. We're going to update it to a better visual design, but that's just to give you like basically the opportunity without having to look in the far corners of the HUD, basically to let you know that the super weapon is available and ready to rock and kick butt. Okay. So I'll make a fix to that. And then on a more minor side of things, so Let's see here. Here we go. So in this case, so we have multiple endings in the game. So, and endings are based on your overall high score for at the end of the day. And there's 4 different ones. They're just kind of a little postcard about what the characters are doing. So, and what we found here is we have a shoot to continue, which is fine. But the problem you have is that sometimes you're in a weapon set that that when you shoot, this is like a dev nerd thing, but when you're shooting the weapons, they weren't able to hit the trigger volume, and so it kind of created a tiny bit of confusion. So now I just put in an override as well. So if you press and hold the button, any of the shooting buttons, after a half a second, it will also then take you to the final screen, so you can check out your bits. Oh, also, I forgot to. Do I have this here? I hope I have this here. Do I have this? Do I have this? Do I have it? Back. No. Back. Okay. Well, I didn't have it here. So now, a much requested feature is being able to view your high scores from the front end. So that is now possible because we have the latest version of the engine. Thank you very much to the Shmup developer, Shmup Creator developers for putting that in. We've been debugging that as well. So it's just one little thing that kind of helps quite a bit. Anyways, that was longer than I expected. Again, thank you everybody for just making this thing what it is. I mean, I don't have the words to properly express how, you know, how wonderful it is to see people playing with this creation. That is very much a piece of my imagination, and you know, and to see people having fun. At the end of the day, we're tuning and tweaking and updating the game for that. And you know, like the amount of wish lists are going up. People are seeing the game. We're part of Shmup Fest now, which is starting next week. So if you're on the fence and you see this, wait one more day and you'll have a 25% off. And then we're gonna have a couple other announcements towards the end of the week. We're gonna run, I think, a bit of a high score challenge. There's gonna be rewards. There's gonna be fun, and then stay tuned on 9:30. We're taking part in a Shmup relay. So we're gonna be in the same Shmup development group as some of the devs that developed Gunvein, and I think they. Karen Attacks and a bunch of other really cool like shmups that have been released and are being developed and people are having a lot of fun with. So anyways, thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye everybody.